Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Danny. The picture of me there is in the bottom right hand side, obviously when I had a cheekier smile. This session today is more of an update rather than a webinar, and it's to let you all know about our Wonde integration update, what we're doing with it, why we're doing it, and obviously the key pieces of information that you guys are going to need to know. So let's crack on. It's going to involve me just chatting on for about 15-20 minutes, which is fantastic for me because I do like the sound of my own voice, but maybe a little bit boring for you guys. Any questions, please just put them in the chat. I'll get to them right at the end. And if there's anything that we don't know here and now, obviously we'll go away, come back, and come back to you with the answers. Okay, so starting with the agenda. First of all, we're going to be looking at what exactly it is we're doing. So, what we're talking about here today. We're then going to look at why we're doing it, just to let you all know the reasons behind it and why we're doing the work. Obviously, how we're doing it. So making sure that you guys know that we've planned it out and we know what we're doing and we've got a bit of a roadmap there. Then what the customer needs to do. So what you need to do as the customer, don't panic too much about that. There's nothing really that you need to do, but we'll go over what you should be mindful of. We'll look at some pros and cons as to the solution that we've got for you that we're going to be talking about today. And then finally, we'll look at those immediate next steps. So exactly what we're going to be doing, tomorrow and over the next month or two. Okay, just to keep you posted so you know what's going on and you know what's happening. Okay, so moving on. So what are we doing? Basically, we are moving from a Wonde managed client to our own custom built transformer. And what this is, right? So for those of you that don't know, without being too technical, when you have an integration which brings your users from your MIS system into its learning or Fronter 19, that involves what we call a middleware client, a little bit of software that sits in between your MIS system and its learning and handles that transfer of data. Our partner for that is called Wonde, and they have stopped their client, which means that we have to move over and build our own. Okay, so this will become a little bit more clear on the next slide, but like I said, it's just an introduction of what we're doing. We're also investigating customers that see little to no value from the Wonde solution that they've currently got. Okay, I'm going to be advising those customers on alternate solutions. So if there's a better way for you to bring your learners in, a more convenient way, a better way, a cheaper way, anything like that, we're going to do that school by school because you're all obviously very different. So we're doing that, we're taking this opportunity to do that at the same time to make sure that we're giving all of our customers the best possible experience and solution that we can provide you. We're also working on commercials to deliver the best value possible from our new solution. So just reiterating kind of what I've just said there anyway. So for those 3 points, we're moving from one managed client to our own custom built transformer. We're investigating that the solution is the best solution for you. And then we're working on the commercials behind it just to make sure that solution is actually the best one for you. There's an image on the left there of the solution that we've built. Means nothing to you. Don't worry too much about it. You'll never see it again. It's just a picture there to fill some space and basically let you know that we've done it. Okay, so moving on is the why we're doing it. So the Wonde managed middleware, okay, the little bit of software in the middle is now end of life. Wonde have stopped this middleware client, so they no longer support it. They're throwing it in the bin and they're doing things a little bit of a different way. So this means that the technology that we use to provide you with an integration is no longer going to be around. Now we've worked with Wonde really closely. Wonde have been great. They're a great company to work with. They're a good partner, and they've allowed us to carry this on up until the point so that we're now ready to do a seamless sort of transition here. Okay, so everything's working really well, everything's going smoothly, it's nothing to worry about, but we are letting you know that Wonde managed middleware is now obsolete and gone, and that's why we've created this new transformer ourselves. Okay, so just like it's on the screen here, we've therefore developed a new transformer or solution of our own, which we'll be switching over to. Reason being, Wonde needed us to do this. Okay, so that's the why. Kicking through these pretty quick, we're liking that. So just a bit of a visual here, really simple without the technical talk. The old Wonde solution would take the data from your MIS system, which is SIMS or Bromcom and systems like that. They take it into their own little piece of software, and then they pass it over to its learning, and your users and groups would populate into its learning. So that's how it used to work. With the new its learning transformer, we still have your MIS data there. It's going over now into our own little bit of software in the middle instead of Wonde's, and then it's going into its learning. So it's a really similar process. And again, it's just a different sort of department, I guess, handling that particular piece of software in the middle. Now we've got the little Wonde, excuse me, we've got the little Wonde logo in there, because what this means is we're still using Wonde's APIs to do it. I'm just going to grab some water. Okay. So we're still using Wonde's APIs to do this. Our transformer here in the middle has been built around Wonde's APIs. Okay, so we're still using Wonde technology. We're still doing it the way that Wonde does it. This is, you know, nothing's changed there. But we've just basically got a little bit of a translator in the middle that takes Wonde's information, makes it so that its learning can understand it, and then sends it over to its learning. Okay, so again, not a big change. It's just we're moving from one little bit of software in the middle to another. All of the parties involved are still the same, and the APIs that Wonde used to use and that now we're using, they're still all the same as well. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. If not, drop us a text in the chat and I'll try and explain it a little bit better, or a little bit more understanding. Okay, so let's look at how we're going to do it. So for USO customers, our customers mainly on Frontier 19, we're going to simplify the USO data. Okay, so that's nothing for you guys to worry about. That's a process that we're going to go through and we're going to do. We're then going to pilot that, pilot the new solution we've got with select customers, usually customers that have a bit more of a complex setup. And then we're going to switch other customers to the new transformer between July and September. Okay, so that's when this change is going to happen. So we've got loads of time, nothing to worry about, but that's when we intend to make the change. Okay, so 3 steps there for Frontier 19, no problems. Next up is its learning customers. Okay, so with its learning customers, it's slightly simpler. We're piloting the new solution as we speak with a couple of schools, and we'll switch everybody else over between July and September. Okay, so a really simple process there, and a bit simpler than what we would do with USO customers, just because with USO we have to do some user matching, okay, and just simplify how we do that. The larger customers are more complex customers. Okay, so customers with a greater technical setup or technical need will be contacted by their account managers. So these are more like local authorities and large colleges and things like that. What we'll do then is we'll create a test site and add the data to the test site. The customer can then verify that that is correct and it looks right. Once that's verified, we then roll it out to the production site, which is the It's Learning site that you use, you all sort of see every day. Okay, so we're basically just quality checking or quality assuring that what we're putting in place for those more complex customers is correct. And then we put it out to production. We expect it to be, we don't expect any issues, but it's a good practice kind of QA thing to do. Okay, so that's how we're doing it and kind of when we're doing it. And, it's kind of that simple, really. So what the customer needs to do, or what you need to do as the customer. So first of all, we've done a lot of work to make sure that you have to do very little. Okay, and that's involved us kind of backwards engineering what was already there, making improvements on it, and making it a bit more intuitive for the actual data. Okay, so current customers, you'll need to let us know if you plan to migrate to the new academic year, which is academic year 23 and 24, before September. Okay, because our expectation here is that in September, everybody rolls over to the new year. So all your MIS systems start sort of saying, yes, we're in 23, 24. If you're going to do it before that, if you're going to start doing that in July or early August, then let us know, just so we know what to expect. Okay, it does help us. It'll help things go a little bit smoother, and we can start to make sure that we're on the right track with it. In September, be mindful that the new data will be active, and you should then sanity check your users and group memberships. Okay, so when you come back in September, get online, check that your users are there and they're as expected and they're in the correct groups that they should be in. Basically, just do a quick quality check yourself that data has come over well. If not, give your key account manager a call and they'll look into it from there, and we can get it sorted out then pretty sharpish. One of the key things here, do not revoke access in Wonde for its learning. So if you're a customer that maybe has other Wonde integrations as well, or if you know how to access your Wonde portal, then when you do access it, make sure you don't turn off access to its learning, because that stops us being able to use those APIs that we spoke about before. Okay, we can turn them back on again, absolutely fine, but it's going to take us a while to figure out what's gone wrong and what you've done there. So do try not to revoke access in Wonde for its learning. Any new customers that have gone on to the new solution already, don't have to do anything because they're already on it. It works great. Why, hey, no problem. So the pros and cons to you as the customer. So first of all, let's look at the pros. Always good to start with the green. First of all, there's better support of your integration from its learning. Okay, and what that means is if anything happens with that integration, you ring us up and we can help you quicker because there's no middleman involved. We're not having to go to Wonde, ask them to open up portals and doors for us so that we can access data. It just works, and we can sort of tackle it from our side. So better support, quicker support for you guys with any sort of issues around the importing of your learners. There is improved USO matching as well. So for example here, when you're dealing with SIMs, we can bring teachers over, no problem. So SIMs users don't really have an issue. But with other solutions, such as Broncom and others like that, we've not been able previously to bring teachers in automatically. So what we can do now is, using the mobile phone number field, we can bring those teachers in, so we can give those customers better value than what they were currently getting and make everything a little bit smoother. But we do need to make sure that that mobile phone number field is populated. Okay, so if this is something that interests you, that you might want to look at, get in contact with your key account manager. Let's get the ball rolling on what data needs to be populated in the USO and in your MIS as well. Coming down to the cons, I'll start with the last one first there. So some minor disruption over the summer whilst we make this switch. And when we say minor disruption, we just mean a couple of hours, we're not talking days here. so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. So not really a con, it's just something that kind of happens when you're changing over technology and when you're doing updates on the back end like this. It shouldn't sort of affect system admins because you have a different login and a different means to log in. So if you are sort of sorting stuff out for next year and things like that, you can still do it. It's just that learners and teachers might have an issue there. And then the final con here is it may not be a like for like for more complex cases. And what we mean by that, or more specifically here, we no longer support calculated usernames. So for those of you that do have calculated usernames, you probably understand what I'm talking about. But basically what this is some customers put different things into the username. It might be the academic year, it might be asking for that username to look differently. So instead of joe.blogs, it might be jblog kind of thing. You might have the academic year at the beginning or the year that the learner is in there somewhere. Basically, anything that's been custom sort of built for the user, for the school, is no longer available in this new solution. I'm not quite sure why it's not available there. It's just as a technical solution, it's unavailable, and that's probably down just off the top of my head to the way that the Wonde API now works. If this is a problem, if it worries you in any way, contact your key account manager, have a chat with them, and we can look at different ways and how this might be coming through and things like that. So it's not going to affect a great deal of customers. There is going to be one or two people that it does affect, but we do have support in place to hopefully support you through those usernames. Okay, so I kind of hope that was clear. If not, obviously do drop a line in the chat and we'll pick that up at the end. So next steps, last slide, powering through these. Your account manager will be in touch to discuss moving over. Okay, so this is something that's going to happen anyway. We're going to be moving over anyway, but we'll just make sure that we give you a call, and any questions you have, you can ask. Obviously, if you are also welcome to contact your account manager proactively rather than wait for them to contact you. Entirely up to you, no problem. We'll discuss commercials with your account manager. So if there is any difference in sort of cost and pricing and things like that, any differences in the amount of users that's going in. So if your teachers are then being put in there, or if you're putting parents in and things like that, that discussion will take place. The switchover takes place between July and September. So here I've got around August time, and that's kind of when we're going to do it. After the switch, your account manager will give you another call just to make sure that everything's going well. Obviously, if it hasn't and you've sense checked, you're probably going to be on the phone to us anyway, but we will just make that call as best practice to make sure that you're okay. So finally, the last thing that we'll say, just again to reinforce this point, do not revoke access in Wonde for its learning. Okay, otherwise, no learners, no groups are going to come through, and it's going to take us a little while to sort of, I suppose, error check that and figure out where the issue lies. Okay, so on to Q&A. I don't see anything in the chat just yet. So what I'll do is I'm going to just give it a moment, a minute or two. If there is any questions, get on there and let us know. And if not, then obviously you can contact your key account manager with any questions as well. For those of you that know me as well, just drop me an email and I'll answer those, or I'll get you the answers that you need as well. Okay, so thanks very much. This should be quite a smooth process, and like we say, we'll make sure that we keep you informed every step of the way. Cheers.